Welcome. My name is Cindy Teevens, and I'm an author and a speaker. And I can show people how to feel good fast without controlling their thoughts or healing the past. You see, that's what happened to me. It was an accidental discovery, right in the middle of my own intensive suffering. And the key to this discovery was realizing that we don't want things, people, or events. We want the feeling we mistake them for. If that strikes home with you, and it really goes deeply into the heart, you'll realize that nothing that you want gives you what you think it does. How is it that we could have come to this point? How is it that everybody acts and lives and walks and talks as if things, people, or events make them feel good or hurt them? Because that is what goes on. You may say, oh, nobody can hurt me, or nobody holds my joy. But when the rubber hits the road, in reality, the way your life is experienced is that these beliefs are functioning. And because these beliefs are functioning, you are attached to the ever-changing world. Sometimes you have something that you like, sometimes you have something you don't like, and so your joy goes up and down and up and down with whatever happens. And if you've lived life long enough, you'll come to have realized that you can't control what happens. That what happens, happens. And it doesn't matter what you do or how badly you feel about it. What happens, happens. And so, what is this feeling about it? If you watch your experience closely, you'll come to realize that what hurts you is never a thing, a person, or an event. The truth is, what hurts you is your thought about a thing, a person, or an event. And the thought is not the thing, the person, or the event. It's like I can hold a glass here, and I can say this is a glass. But is the word glass this? No. It's another analogy that it's also like is you could be out on a hike somewhere and you have a map with you. Well, is the map the territory? If you come upon a big mountain that's not on the map, do you believe the map and say that doesn't exist? See, minds are just maps. They're overlays. They're a pointer, an indication, but they're not truth. For example, I had one client whose suffering was regarding her son. She had the thought that her son doesn't want to spend time with her. It was a very painful thought. Now, is the thought that the son doesn't want to spend time with her the truth, the actuality? No. But we can suffer as if it is. Once we did the work with her, we did the shift that I call alchemy, and she started to feel how her son does want to spend time with her. She saw that instead of his efforts, meaning, you know, his efforts to get there and instead of it meaning that he didn't want to spend time with her because it took so much effort, it meant that he did want to spend time with her because he was willing to put the effort in, you see. So the meaning we apply is ours. And in truth, there's no meaning for you. So you're free. You're free to choose a bad feeling meaning or a good feeling meaning or no meaning. And when we choose a bad feeling meaning, which is a thought, and we put our power of attention on it, it's going to hurt. And that's a gift. That's to keep us from being in pain. That's to keep us from suffering. Are we listening to it? You know, if you picked up a flower and were holding it and enjoying it, and then suddenly you saw a spider on it, would you keep holding it? Or would you open up, back away, and not touch it? When we put our power of attention on a bad feeling thought and we suffer on it, we are putting our power of attention on it. We are coming closer to it as if we're going to hold that spider even closer, because that's safer, isn't it? No, the safe thing is to open attention, let go, back away. I don't speak conceptually, and I don't like using the term let go, because what is that? You know, I would not accept anything short of absolute direct truth, and as a result I found freedom. So while people will spiel off concepts, I didn't pay attention to them. I could tell there was something missing, there was something more here, and I would keep digging to find the actual direct truth. So for the most part, I'm not going to give you concepts. I think that we can grab onto them, and they're really a dead end. You've heard, no doubt, the concept that, you know, we are one, for example. That you can use that to suffer over, you can use that to feel good, but are you knowing any direct absolute truth about it? You know, I could say to you, your stove is hot. Do you know the stove is hot? Because I said it? Because I mouthed these words? How do you know the stove is hot? You have to get your own direct experience. You have to touch the stove, right? Are you going to be satisfied with the thought language, the second-hand knowledge, thought knowledge that the stove is hot? Is that going to satisfy you? Or what if I say that the stove is not hot, the stove is not on, and you're away somewhere? It doesn't really satisfy. You'd like to know firsthand, be certain, wouldn't you? If it were important to you, the stove wasn't hot. We could use the example, the stove is on fire. How important is that to you now? You see, when it's important to you, a concept or second-hand knowledge you won't accept. You will keep pushing onward to get your own direct, indisputable, absolute truth. And the absolute truth is there. So if it's important to you to feel good or to have truth, then you will drop all the concepts that you've learned and been told, and that will leave space for something new to happen, something else to be possible. So if you're feeling bad, what's actually causing it? Let's look closely. So one minute this woman is fine, she's by herself, she's maybe in the kitchen cooking, and up comes the thought, oh, my son, he doesn't want to spend time with me. And then you go into the suffering. So what actually happened here? Did her son say that? Did some absolute truth fall down from the skies and hit her in the head? No. A fearful thought arose. Where did it arise? Within her. Did it arise within him? No. Where did it arise from? Within her. Based on what? Based on a belief? Based on a preference for having more time, more often? Based on past suffering? That it wasn't long enough or often enough, or you don't come when I want you to come? All of these ideas and thoughts from the past that happened before can evolve into a generalized belief. And generalization is where suffering gets really bad. When you start to believe something general about somebody, like they always do this, They never do that. Of course, it's not true. It's impossible for it to always be that way or to never be that way. Yet, these words can arise in a sentence. We can put our attention on them, and they will feel bad. So what happens never hurts us. The thoughts about what happens, putting our power of attention on a bad thought feeling. I call them thought feelings because they arise together. Can't really separate one from the other. We put our attention on that and it hurts. And instead of noticing that it hurts and backing off from it, we somehow believe it and put your attention even more onto it. And then more bad thoughts will come. Because when you feel bad, bad thoughts come easily and effortlessly. And when you feel good, good thoughts come easily and effortlessly. Everybody's had the experience of feeling awesome. You know, you're on the top of the world and it doesn't matter what happens. And some things will happen, but it doesn't matter. It's like water off a duck's back, right? And then you've had the experience where you feel bad and everything is bad. You see? So know that you can shift your state out of this. And it's not by positive thinking. You know, I tried that years ago. How painful. I tried it so severely, it was excruciating. It was all I thought there was to do. So here you are trying to force a good thought on a bad feeling. And you're in denial of the bad feeling, of the attachment that you have. And you may feel like, geez, I can't even do this. I'm not good enough. You may feel like you're a fraud trying to do this, you know. Oh, well, it's okay. I'll, you know, go along in my life. It's not pure. It's not happiness. It's not joy. It's not bliss. And so this technique I call alchemy shifts your feeling first. Instead of trying to force a good thought on a bad feeling, shift your feeling first and you become a good thought magnet. And you start to notice things, knowledge, wisdom, information that you didn't have in a tiny little state. And the tiny little state is the same state people get into when they're in a blind rage. We have this term called blind rage. And it's called blind rage for a reason, because when you feel bad, you're blind, deaf, and ignorant to everything else around you. You have contracted your power of attention, one of your three powers, onto one little itty-bitty, tiny, painful thought, feeling. And you can see nothing else, it seems. Of course you can. You're never, ever bound. You are utterly and completely free. But you can believe that there is nothing else possible. And so I show people how to feel good first. Shift your state. Then look again. And knowledge and wisdom that is always there will come forth. I don't tell people what to think about situations. I help them shift their state and release themselves and their natural wisdom, information. They have access to it all. You have it all. And this is why people always, after a bad state and a bad experience, they say, I know better. I know better. That wasn't me. Yeah, you know better, but you don't embody better. So alchemy is how to embody. And when you do this, everything shifts. Villains become victims. The pain stops. Joy steps in. Compassion steps in. And wisdom. It doesn't mean you don't take care of yourself. It means now you're empowered to take care of yourself and everybody else to the best that you can, given the entire situation. So there's a lot of benefits to doing this. But all you need is one single motivator. You just need to want to feel good. That's all that happened to me. I just came to a point where I'd had enough suffering. And I truly wanted only love, joy, and peace for myself and everybody around me, as much as that was possible. And so it was in the middle of my own intense suffering when I had decided no more pain. Not just I didn't want to be nice if I didn't, which really is not very strong, it's not very powerful. But I came to a point of zero tolerance. I just didn't want any of it anymore. And I refused to blame anybody outside of me because I knew that, you know, intellectually, it was inside me, not outside me. And so just by refusing to blame and instead to claim, I learned the truth about our pain and about our joy. How it exists within us only. Every time. Anytime you're feeling bad, nobody has ever hurt you. Nobody has ever judged you. Nobody has ever abandoned you. And if you disagree with me, I invite you to come on and have a conversation with me. We can look closely and see. I've done this with many clients. And I'll give you one example of a woman here who was certain that what she thought about somebody else was true. How does someone go from this?
Rude, inconsiderate, selfish, yeah, disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like I won't let myself feel good. That's been my world my whole life. I've been working with that for the last few years and really like, gosh, why won't I? And why can't I just let, or maybe I don't know what it feels like.
To this.
Oh my God. Funny now. Oh my gosh. Where is this coming from? I'm like, where did that come from? Oh my gosh. Funny. It was like I couldn't control it. I just have to come out. I can't stop laughing, Cindy. Oh. Oh my gosh. So what was that? Like just me like seeing the ridiculousness of my behavior? I don't know. Of the whole thing. It's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. So who was being, or who or what was being rude? Inconsiderate, selfish, disrespectful.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my whole body just went, when I first saw it, it was like all this energy and the heat in my body. I was like, it just came up. And now I know what you're talking about because I went back and like started reading your book and I'm like, where is she getting uncontrollable laugh? My gosh! That is wild! Oh my gosh! So you could do this with anything, right?
Yeah.
You can get to anything and just laugh about it.
Yep.
Silliness is all.
But, you know, I don't know. I don't really think you can do it. I don't know. That's what I call the laughter of realization. And it comes when, as she described it, you see it. What are you seeing? You have to experience this. What you're seeing is how everything you thought, everything that you were so serious about, everything you were so certain about, Everything you thought that was causing you the pain wasn't true. And especially the fact that you thought another person was causing it, and you see you yourself are causing it. So it's like, it's the ultimate in forgiveness, because you realize there's nothing to forgive. Nothing needs forgiving. And in that way, you're both forgiven and it's all over. So she also described the experience of the body heating up and the energy. This is very tangible, because you see what happened with me was I was in the middle of this intense pain and suffering, and all that energy that was being used to suffer just suddenly flipped over into the most amazing love, joy, peace. It's very tangible, very actual, very physical, and can be explosive at times. And pretty much always involves some humor. And so what happened to me was I went around in happiness, joy, peace, bliss for weeks, because I had discovered that we are like children in a candy store, and all the candy's free. And so I picked out. And then I got a little tired, like all children who pick out on candy. And so then I learned that there were other flavors, not just joy, but also peace. Equanimity settled in. I didn't want anything of the world anymore. That doesn't mean I didn't function in it or I didn't value it. I just didn't need or want it and value it like I used to. And there's such freedom in that. In realizing there's nothing to do. You don't have to chase after anything. You can just be. And I went around, I was explosive with it. I just had to tell everybody, oh my God, you can feel good anytime you want. You don't need anything. And the world didn't want to hear it. It's a strange phenomenon, because people so deeply believe that things, people, or events make you happy or unhappy. There's this fear of letting go. But all you're letting go of is pain, you know? So I love walking people through it. I love witnessing the eyebrows go up and the eyes pop out and the pain shift over into love, joy, and peace, and the recognition click in that there's nothing they need, not even me. Once you know this. So that's what these webinars are about. And I'm opening the door for people who want to come, question, look close, have an experience. If you're on my website right now, you'll see a chat box that you can type any questions into, and I'll address them here. If you just go to alchemylovejoy.com, alchemylovejoy.com, there's a button on the top that says Live Webinar. If you click on that, it will open up. And feel free to ask me any questions at all about my experience, about yours, about happiness, about pain, love, joy. And I'll just keep a little eyeball on that chat box. And you can also write me if you prefer, Cindy at alchemylovejoy.com, Cindy at alchemylovejoy.com. I won't be checking that during the broadcast, but if you want to ask a question to be answered later, you're invited to do that. I am here to help because I know the pain and the suffering all too well. I remember it all too well. I have compassion for it. And ever since this happened, that's what I've been doing. I just basically dropped everything and had to share the love and the joy. So now I encourage people to seek joy. Seek joy. We've been seeking problems. Problems. Why have we been seeking problems? You know, you feel bad, and what happens? You start looking, why do I feel bad? Okay, what happened this morning? Okay, who said what? Oh, I was the third child of 5. Or the last child, or middle child. See, and we go looking for reasons for our pain. And that is what causes the pain. Why do we go looking for reasons? Why do we ask the why question? Because of the happiness lie. We believe that something, person, or event has caused this pain. And so we need to locate it. We need to pinpoint it so that we can change it, right? Fix it. We can change the outside. If I could just make that person think the right thing about me. If I could just get enough money. If I could just find the right partner. If he just wouldn't speak that way. Yeah, we have all these ifs that limit. Well, they cause our pain. And then they limit our joy on top of it. We have what I call the false happiness hierarchy as a result of this ingrained belief. It goes like this. You get an ice cream cone and you have a certain amount of happiness, right? Yeah. All right. Good. Then you get a brand new car. Woohoo! Isn't that greater joy than an ice cream cone? Yes, eh? What about a new house? Uh-huh. And your partner, baby, I mean, okay, your hierarchy might be a little different from mine, but generally speaking, the ice cream cone's on the lower end, isn't it? And that's why when I went around with this grin on my face, experiencing this joy, people would stop and ask me, what happened to you? Something must have happened to you. Something outside of you must have happened to you for you to have this joy. But I'm here to say that you can have it anytime for no reason. Just because it's your birthright. You're capable. That's what the body-mind can do. The body-mind can suffer, or the body-mind can experience joy. And you're not bound one way or the other. You are utterly free to choose. How do you do that? You do that using your 3 powers that you were born with. They've been there since birth. They're there 24/7. It's just that we haven't been aware of them, and therefore they've gone on autopilot, or they've been misused. You know, for example, I can ask you, are you feeling your feet right now? Wherever you are. Maybe you are now that I mentioned it. Maybe you weren't before. So what happened? Had your foot stopped feeling? No. People will say, well, I wasn't paying attention to it. Okay, so what's this I wasn't paying attention to it? What is that, other than a thought? What's actually going on? What's actually going on is you have put your power of attention somewhere else. You have contracted your power of attention onto one thing, like either my words or your thoughts about my words. And when you do that, you can actually eliminate in your experience, not in your reality, but in your experience, a body part, like your foot. That's how you can sit on your foot for half an hour and then wake up to the pain of it with the tingling of having cut off the blood circulation and the nerve supply. So, looking closely, when you put your power of attention fully into the stream of thinking, it's like plugging it in. People say they can't stop the mind. You don't need to stop the mind. You need to pull the plug. You need to pull the power source. The more you try to stop the mind, the more power you give it. That's why you can't stop the mind. Because you don't even know what the mind is or what its power source is. Well, now you do. So how do you pull your power of attention away from thinking? Put it into the senses. Feel your feet, the top of your head, take in your peripheral vision, and notice your breath moving in and moving out. Oh, you noticed your breath now that I mentioned it? That's another one of your body functions that can go on autopilot or taken conscious control of. And when you don't take conscious control of it, it goes on autopilot. That's what your power of attention does. It'll go from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. Attention wanders. How does it wander? By contracting the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But if you put your power of attention into your feet and the top of your head at the same time, and in order to do that, you can't contract. You have to open. Open and relax and feel your feet and the top of your head at the same time. And if this is stressful, it's because you're trying to contract. So open, relax. Feeling your feet, the top of your head, taking in your peripheral vision. Notice your breath. How does that feel? Calm? Quiet? Why is that? What's absent? The stream of stressful thinking. Or they're just calmed down. I call this coming to your senses. And when you come to your senses, you get immediate relief. From there, we use the powerful questions of alchemy to shift your state and open to wisdom, knowledge, and other behavioral resources that you didn't have in a tiny, wee, painful state. A person who's in a blind rage is very tiny. As you practice coming to your senses, you'll start to notice other things you didn't notice before. Sights, sounds, bodily sensations. You might even notice your pulse, your heartbeat. You can do this anytime, anywhere, and it's an instant 2-minute technique, 2-minute piece. Actually, it starts faster than that, but if I told you it was a 2-second technique, nobody would believe me, nobody would come. So it could be a 5-minute one if you want to take 5 minutes, 10, 20, 30. How long do you want to enjoy? And you can function in this state perfectly fine, thank you. Because we've been living out of the stream of thinking, we have thought we need thought to function. But if you tried to walk using thought, you know, left, right, left, you'd be tripped up and falling on your face before you knew it. You don't need thought for anything, except maybe to differentiate between John and Mary, so we know who you're addressing. But otherwise, you don't use thought for anything either. Washing the dishes, you go round and round without thinking round and round. In fact, if you try to think it, quite often just gets in the way. You function much better without this incessant speeding, pushing, nattering thought going on. And I'm sure you've had the experience. You might be working on a problem and you know, just can't resolve it. And the minute you stop and walk away or get in the shower, you come to your senses, boom, the answer comes. So anytime you have effort, you can be certain that you're engaging in the stream of stressful thinking. And it's completely unnecessary. Just going to check, see if we have any questions here. Again, the website is Alchemy Love Joy, live webinar. And feel free. You can ask me anything. So a lot of people ask, so does anything bother you anymore? I get that one often. No. In fact, the truth is nothing ever did bother me. I only thought it did, and I bothered myself with thoughts. And I know full well now that if I'm hurting, and it's been a long time since I've hurt, I can't remember when, I'm causing it. And so I surely wouldn't entertain it very long. Why would I do that to myself? You know, fretting about being stuck in traffic is not going to change the traffic one iota. But it is going to change your heart rate, your blood pressure, the stress on your body. So this is a devaluing and a revaluing the process of thinking, the function of thinking. What is it? It's not you. Where's its proper place? It's as a tool that you use, not that you get used by. Of course, you can't get used by it, but if you use it incorrectly, it can look that way. And there's a bit of distance between you and a thought because you are not a thought. You see thoughts come and go. They come and go in your unchanging presence. That's freedom. So if there's anybody who would like to come on live, I'll tell you what, I will give you the link in email. If you email me, I'll just open the email program and email me Cindy. Actually, email me at info@gobeyond, G-O-B-E-Y-O-N-D, info@gobeyond.ca. And I'll send you the live link, and we could have a live conversation. And that's where the power is. I can stand up here and talk till I'm blue in the face, but until you try this on. I was in Facebook the other day and I posted, you know, if you want love, happiness, peace, why want? Why want? Wanting feels bad. You have everything you need available right here, right now to be happy, to feel love. You don't have to wait for anything. And very few people will actually try that on. Very few people. I haven't figured out why yet. But who will actually look. Take a look if what I'm saying is true. Don't believe me, just look. Just try it on. Turn within. Ask yourself the first two alchemy questions. First one is, what do I want? You may not even know what you don't want, although we are far better at knowing what we don't want. About 8, 9 times out of 10 when I work with people and I ask them, what do you want? They tell me what they don't want. And putting your attention on what you don't want will feel bad. You'll just get more of it. So the first question, what do I want? Answer it in the positive, not what I don't want. And it will be a thing, a person, or an event, because you are believing the happiness lie. You think you need something from someone, or some response from someone, or something you don't want to happen. We are back, I do believe. They say that when Google Hangout goes down, it comes back, and we pick up right where we left off. This is the first time that's happened, and it appears to be true. Looks like we even have the same viewers available. Great news. Welcome back. I'm not sure who left what. I'm just getting reset back up here, and I shall carry on. In the meantime, I did open email. If you have a question, feel free to fire one off to me at info@gobeyond.ca. info@gobeyond.ca. I'm just going to check email now. Now we will resume talking about the alchemy questions and how to use them. Okay, so we're good to proceed for now. So the first question I was saying is, what do I want? And state that positively. And don't judge it. It's Christmas morning. You can have whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it, because whatever it is, the second question will take care of it. You know, for example, I had a woman once who said, well, you know, she was in a situation of having lunch with a bunch of other women, and they were nattering, they were having fun and chit-chatting, and she wasn't. And she was feeling bad. I said, okay, so what do you want? She said, well, I want attention. And I said, okay. She said, but I shouldn't want attention. And I said, why not? Are you here? Are you present? Are you part of this moment? Or are you separate from it? You know, wanting to be connected, wanting to be part of what's going on is not a problem. Perhaps the way, you know, the strategies you might go about trying to get attention maybe are not so elegant. And that's okay, because it's a learning, right? So I said to her, okay, so how does having attention feel? And she said exactly those things. It feels connected. It feels like I exist. It feels like I'm part of everything. And that's exactly what you do with the second question. You answer how it feels. First you get the mental answers. And then you come to your senses. Feel into the body and ask the body how it feels in the body. And that's a last mental question. And you go into feeling. You feel it. And it's this power of feeling that shifts everything. So take your time and enjoy what you do want. And when you get a really good, powerful state, then you can look back on the situation. And with her, one of the alchemy questions is, so feeling this way, how do you act? Oh, well, I feel connected. So I go out and I connect with people and I talk and I engage. And okay. So who was really ignoring you? And she had the aha moment. Of course, I was ignoring myself. I was disconnecting. So you see, when you take care of the inside, the outside takes care of itself. What a gift. But as long as you blame the outside, as long as you blame somebody else or need something from somebody else, you suffer. And that's good, because it's pointing you toward the truth and the reality that you are not a limited being. Thank God we're not. Thank God, somebody else can't come in and make your attention go somewhere. That would be hell. The truth is, you're free. And joy is available for you here and now, anytime. Love, peace, joy, whatever you want. whatever you want. So I encourage you to indulge. I encourage you to, no matter what you're doing, go around feeling great and just watch how that transforms everything. All right, we had about 15 minutes for questions, but it seems like I'm not getting any here today, so I'm going to let you all go, I think. Any last requests? Give you a few more minutes. I'll show you one of my books, The Happiness Lie. Pinocchio, he's lying, right? It's probably the only useful story we were told as children, that when you lie, things get worse. And as long as you lie, you're not real. You want to be real, you want to have real relationships, you want to have real love, real joy, real peace. We have to stop lying about the source and the cause of our pain and our love and our joy. And look with a discriminatory eye and attention to realize what is actually going on, not what we think is going on. It will free you. Thanks for your time, and I encourage you to enjoy the joy just because you can. I'll see you next time.